episode 309 of the Global from Asia podcast, talking about starting up a online business while being a digital nomad or being somebody roaming around Southeast Asia, which is something a lot of people here like to do. Let's tune in.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight-up, actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Michelini.
Episode 309, everybody. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me in your earbuds. Well, ears. I was just teaching my kids ears. The human body in some Marco Polo app. That actually my friend Jennifer, she was in episode like 6 or something of the podcast. She's an investor of them, and I was chatting to her about things, and she got me on this app, paying for it now. But the kids like it. It's kind of like casual learning, you know. It's like a little bit like half school, half game. So on the iPad, so they kind of like it. Getting some people commenting about my homeschooling inspiration for them. I guess there's other parents listening, and a lot of people without schools being open in different parts of the world. It has been tough. It's only been a couple weeks for me so far, but kids are looking me at it as a teacher now. I guess it's kind of a parent's job, but I won't bore you to death about being a parent. Let's go back to the good old days. We got a cool interview for you today. I think this will help inspire some people. Markus and I've known him. I've met him many times, and usually in Thailand at conferences and masterminds, and he's been working so hard on his online business. He's got a translation platform that's helping people, and he's got some technical connections, so it's automated. He's built up quite a great business. I always talk to him. He's just chipping away at this business for years and years and years as a very German way, you know, very determined and systematical and process oriented. And I'm glad to get him on the show today to share his journey and his, he's very, very straight up. So, it's no hype. It's all really like what he did and how he did it. And he's grown a really great business. So I hope you guys enjoy, and girls enjoy this one, and use this as inspiration for yourself to build your online business and to, just make it happen. That's really what it's about. But let's tune into this show. Enjoying the content here at Global from Asia? Do you have a blog, a website, a podcast, some videos, and you want us to help you with your content? The team here at Global from Asia is doing other people's podcasts and blog, and for many, many years, honestly, that's kind of what our team is really skilled at. If you want to work with us and have us work on your content, check out www.contentinvestments.com. We have all kinds of different pricing and plans. It's best to just reach out and talk to us, and we can make a plan for you. Check it out. Okay, thank you everybody for choosing to listen to another Global from Asia podcast. Markus is somebody I've been meaning to get on the show for a while. I mean, we've had so many great encounters. We've kept in touch over the years. We met in some conferences in Thailand, and I've seen, you've been following me. I always remember you helped me get into some media publications, and you're really good at, keeping relationships with people, at least with me. So today's show is just your story. You've been really chipping away at your translation platform, gatewaytranslations.net, which has been awesome. And you've been based remotely, traveling in Southeast Asia and around the world. And I'm curious. This is kind of one of my things of doing a podcast. I get to learn about some of the stories, and yours is one of them. So without further ado, here's Markus Seebauer. Thanks for coming on, Markus.
Thanks for having me, Mike. It's a pleasure to be on the show and share a bit about my journey, especially because it relates so much to Asia and doing business in Asia and helping foreign companies to do business in Asia.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, we've chatted a little bit about China market, and you deal with translation, localization for your clients, which is very relevant and helpful for them and for what you do and what I do. So let's always talk about the story. So you're originally from Germany, and you've been in
right.
I'm assuming where you're based, but I always think of you as in Southeast Asia, but maybe you're not even, I don't even know where you are right now, but do you want to just share a little bit of your story, how you got started on your journey of...
Yes, so my journey is a bit uncommon. So I can imagine it's interesting for other entrepreneurs or for people who want to get into a new field to do something new. Originally, I studied computer science at the Technical University of Munich, and I graduated from that degree. So it's a bit far away from what we do with languages. Also, we do a lot of software localization as well, and we have some specialized tools. But at the end of the day, it was a long way and a bit of an uncommon journey. Originally, during my computer science studies, I was traveling to Asia, to China, and I was so impressed. Yeah, it was so different and it was so hard. Like taxi drivers didn't speak English, and it was very hard to get around. But yeah, I was so impressed by the culture, by the food. So I thought I want to do some internship abroad in China. And then it turned out that it was easier to do that in India. So being an IT person, it made sense to go to India. And I was encouraged to take a whole semester of 6 months instead of just going for the summer. So that was a big step for me. But it really paid off. And I worked in 2 different software companies in India. And the second software company, they did a big project where they helped steel planning and control system in Germany, in Bremen, in northern Germany, to migrate some legacy software to a new platform. And they had thousands of pages in German language. And the Indian people, of course, they didn't speak German. So they asked me, instead of doing software development here, can you help us with the translation of these documents to English? And that's what was my first connection with the translation industry and how I saw that there is such a need.
Okay.
And that was 13 years ago.
Wow.
So that's been a while. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I didn't. That's why I guess I get to learn more about you too. So then you're in India and you're asking, okay, maybe it's a development. You can do some translation. So what is that? How you started, or were you doing in-house there? And then how did we get?
Yes, exactly. I was doing it in-house there, and translation is never the only challenge. It's always a cultural challenge as well. So these teams from Germany, they were negotiating with the Indian people. I think it was their first time in India. And, they tried to be friendly and, introduce themselves about their family because they read some guide that you should do that in India. Yeah, we don't do that in Germany typically. It's like straight business. So they did that. And then, but still after maybe 15 minutes, they came straight to business and they said, their deadlines were missed. So, we need to figure that out. And the Indian people were so offended, it was just culturally not how it works there. And these things are really crucial for the success of a project. Yeah.
Okay.
So I could also help them a little bit with the cultural differences because at that point I had been to India for around 4 months. So I was familiar with the working style, and these people were just coming fresh from the airport pretty much.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So India, so you're doing this translation in India, and
right.
then how did that progress?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So then I went back to Germany, to Munich. After 6 months, I finished my computer science degree, graduated, and I wanted to take some time off. You don't have so many chances later in life, at least for most people. So I wanted to travel around the world for 1 year. And I started again in India. Of course, I wanted to see how things had changed, and I was blown away. Things in Asia change so quickly, yeah, in so many ways, sometimes for the better and for the worse. And then I progressed to Southeast Asia. And after 1 year, I wanted to travel around the world to Africa, to Latin America as well. But after 1 year, I was still in Asia, because there was so much to see, and I wanted to find a way how I am more flexible in my life instead of just going back to Munich and working in some big IT company. I thought about working as an IT consultant or SAP consultant, which is paid very well, and it was very easy. Everyone from my university got good jobs easily, but that's what was just not what I wanted to do in my life. And then, I started to do these translation things.
Okay. It's great, man. I mean, I hope we're inspiring some people and helping them, not to settle for like, what you're just saying, like just settle for the career path that's set before you, but, wanting to explore, wanting to do something. So then you go back to Southeast Asia. Are you doing this? Is Gateway Translations exist yet, or it's not exist?
No, at that point, this just felt like an extended vacation. And this was not really a proper business yet. I was just in the stage that I was avoiding the normal path, but I hadn't figured out things at all. And it still seemed that I would go back to Germany sooner or later. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like me, I'm somewhat similar. I thought I would be back to the States after maybe 6 months or travel somewhere else. But we're both still here so many years, over decades.
Yes, I think now you have over 10 years. You've been in China, so you're really an expert on business in China.
There's a joke. There's always that joke. I don't know if it's an American thing, but they say like the mafia, you try to get out, but they keep pulling you back in. That's kind of how
yeah.
There's that funny saying, like some mafia movies, they're like, I tried to get out, but they just kept pulling me back in. So, well, I'm curious. So yeah, you go back, like me and like a lot of us, we get so fascinated with this Asia growth, Asia's, story. How did you kick off the idea? So you start with India, you're doing it in-house, you go back to Germany, come back to Asia, you want to kind of explore, where's the development of your venture?
Right. So I think many people, they have really high aspirations, and it's an obstacle when you start a business. So for me, it was very easy because I had very low expectations. I just thought if I make a few €100 extra per month to supplement my non-existing income, that goes a long way there. And at that point, I had a simple life there. So it was very easy to get started, no pressure. And I just signed up on 2 freelancer platforms, Elance and Odes. A few years ago, they merged into Upwork, but there are also many other platforms.
Okay. And you're doing it yourself. So there's no platform yet. You're doing German.
Right. Yeah. So I did these English to German translations myself in the first months, but being the entrepreneurial personality I am, I found a German translator who could do the work much better than me and much cheaper.
Okay.
And she was happy because it was hard for her to make a living in Asia. So I moved up the value chain kind of, and I was just checking her work, and I was getting the clients.
Okay.
And she was even a professional translator with a translation degree. So that was very useful. And
Was she a friend, or how did you?
No, I posted in a local Facebook group, and then we met up in a restaurant and we started to work on these projects. And then I just found more people and I made my recruiting process more professional, and my business grew really quickly. You wouldn't assume that on these freelancer platforms you can get really large clients. So in the first year there, or for first 2 years, I got one project from Skyscanner, and then I kept working with them until last year. So that was like a lot of money. And I did some projects for Hertz, the car rental company, which everyone knows. For G4S, is the biggest security company in the world. So large companies also go there to find freelancers, and you just need to know how to find these jobs in the huge amount of super low-end work.
All right. I like this. I mean, I guess it's also you're German. Germans never really like to boast or to show off. You're making it sound easy, but I do like, just to recap. You said earlier you didn't have high expectations. You just kind of at the beginning just wanted to get started. Just wanted to do your own. Make your own schedule, make your own income, and now you found somebody in a Facebook group to help, and you're scaling up clients on these freelancer platforms. I know we chatted a little bit before the interview, and you talked about my next kind of point is scaling. Like I was asking, like, was it spikes or was it slow and steady? And you wanted to talk about certain clients here for expanding.
Yes, so at the beginning, I would say it grew really fast, because there was, at that time, there were so many companies there that were hiring for English to German translations. And sometimes these were really large projects that kept one translator occupied for a whole month. Or even we had some people working for a few months. We also did some German SEO optimized content writing. And then there was one person, she kept doing that full time for a few months. So I already had a team running of multiple people. So that got started quite quickly. But yeah, as with most businesses, there are ups and downs when you don't have such a systematic sales process where you just depend on companies posting the right jobs there. Because at some point, maybe there's a low, and then I didn't have any other channel to get clients at that time.
All right. So just some takeaways there is you had like a system sales process, or like onboarding process. You also seem to have a system for onboarding your team. I think there's a couple of takeaways I'm catching from this, right?
Right. So, for example, we tested translators. We gave them an unpaid test in their field. So that would be different for marketing, for example, and for engineering, and for IT software translations. So we could filter out the people who were just not able to deliver quality.
Okay. Which is very important, and in any business, but especially, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So now it's of course a lot more sophisticated. Yeah? That was still 8 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years, 7 years ago.
So yeah, I mean, this show might be played hopefully in the long term, but that's 2013, you mean? To put a number?
Right, 2012, 2013.
Okay. And or again, just to make sure everybody understands, you're doing this remotely. What was your like living condition or travel? Are you traveling often, or are you staying in like one city while you're doing this?
I was staying in one city in Asia, and I even had a swimming pool. So it was not a bad life. And nobody was asking me, oh, how is your business doing? Sometimes people, they want to start a business, and then they tell their friends and their family, and everyone is curious. And 1 month later, everyone is, oh, so how is your business doing now? So of course it takes time, especially if if you develop a product or if you do something that takes time to sell. Because the large enterprise clients we target now, it can take years to get a client.
Agreed. Yeah, the sales cycle for these huge companies. And
Right.
yeah, so interesting. I thought you were traveling or hopping around more. So you were just mostly like in like Vietnam or Thailand or something mostly.
In the first 6 months, I was pretty settled. So I hear many people, just traveling around, like these digital nomads. People stay 3 days in one place. Yeah, I don't see how is viable to start and grow a business. I think it's mostly the media and bloggers writing about it. I don't see the viability of that for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've tried some of that sometimes, and I feel like you spend half your day just trying to find, where to eat or where to sleep, or
Right.
you're always dealing with just like travel kind of stuff. You're never really in a flow or routine, which you need kind of,
Right.
especially starting up a business.
Yeah, but fast forward 8 years, now things are very different. So when I take some time off, the business just keeps running without me pretty much, except a lot of client-facing work, the German companies in particular. I take care of these things, but other than that, we have a very solid team and processes and a platform where we do the project management, we manage the teams. So that can be pretty hands-off to some extent, and that allows me a lot of freedom and focus on other tasks.
Great. So then you have other salespeople, but it seems like you're doing clients in at least a German market, or do you have client management people or salespeople?
We have people who manage projects, and even for such roles, it also involves sales in some capacity, because a client might say, we want to localize our website to Spanish. And then someone from my team might ask, so what's your target market? And explain to them that Spanish in Spain and in Mexico is so different that if these are major markets, maybe they should localize their website separately into these two languages, especially for the large companies we work with. So that's sales as well. I consider that sales, but it's not like they are talking to a new customer.
Okay, can you maybe give us an insight about how here you talk about now? Do you want to give us however much you're willing or able to share about either team size, revenue, or other kinds of milestones that?
I can give you an example about the kind of projects we have been doing.
Sure.
So, for example, for One World Online, we localized their app into 31 languages, I think. So that's well over 50 people working on such a project, and it's very challenging when clients ask for more obscure languages, let's say Asian languages like Khmer from Cambodia, or in that case, they asked for Kannada. Yeah, so it's written Kannada, and the person in my team got a bit confused. Yeah, and most people on the show probably have never heard of that language unless they're Indian. So he thought, maybe the client wanted to write Canada. Yeah, but that's an Indian regional language, and it was important for the client to target these people, especially when you target more normal people, not like extremely highly educated people who just speak or who are just comfortable with that local language.
All right.
And another project we did, we localized the app for fintech into 22 languages to help them expand. And last year I was in Vietnam, and we translated 1,000 pages into Vietnamese for Strabag, which is the biggest construction company from Austria. They were a contractor for the new water treatment plant in Vietnam, in the capital, Hanoi.
Yeah, congrats. I remember you chatted to me about that when it happened.
Yeah, thank you. That was like a big milestone, because that's a very prestigious project and a very prestigious client. Yeah.
So let's talk about listeners maybe sitting here, maybe wanting to either start or grow. Do you think any of this was there advantages or just maybe disadvantages about the way you did things, or like maybe specific about coming out to Asia or Southeast Asia to do this?
Of course, there are really big advantages and disadvantages. So we are really close to the markets in Asia, and I could understand really well how the consumers they think, and how the economy works, how companies make sales there. Yeah. For example, I was at the Germany-Singapore Business Forum. I'm active at the German Business Association Vietnam. So I'm quite close to the German companies or foreign companies in general there, and I know the challenges in marketing and sales to these markets, and that has been very valuable for our clients.
Okay. It's true. I mean, people want to get into different markets, and you have a lot of advantages. What about somebody getting started now? I mean, is there still? I mean, I'm sure there's opportunity. Or if you were to do it now, or ask somebody else to do it now, would you tell them differently, or what would you say?
So the disadvantages or the advantage of being on the ground close to the customer all the time, I noticed that in particular when the companies are mid-sized in traditional industries like engineering, once the company is quite large, then they were used to WebEx or Skype calls, and then they just asked me to join. But otherwise, they would ask me to come meet them in their office. And these companies were not even in Munich in many cases. So it took a lot of time to go there. But I think now the times have changed in the last few months. So people might be more open to doing business without meeting in person. At the end of the day, it comes down to trust. How are you able to build trust with people? And if you are a buyer, you want to buy some service or product, the question always is, why should you trust that person or that company?
True. Well, I guess obviously this COVID stuff is forcing people to work online and do remote work, which is making it almost better for entrepreneurs, I'd say, because they can kind of almost be equal to a big company, because how do they know how big the company is if they're doing a remote call? There's no more visiting offices or things like that.
And so the business culture is very different. So when I spend a lot of time in Europe as well, but they are not these informal or semi-formal channels to meet people in the companies, unless, let's say, you would meet someone for coffee. But in Germany, that's not so common. If it's not your client, maybe it's some potential client, you wouldn't ask for that. So I was going to trade shows in Germany. The Hannover Messe, it's the biggest industrial trade show in the world. Conferences, but in Asia, because people are expats, there are other people, foreigners, who are also new to the culture, and maybe they don't speak the language, they don't fit in so much, and you can have some executive from a big multinational corporation who just moved there and is very open to meet other people, even when they are not in the same position like him. that is really a unique benefit. And then you can befriend these people and even go out with them.
Okay. This has been I really appreciate your spending your time with us, Markus. Can you share a little bit about Gateway Translations, your company, and how people could find out more about you and your business?
Yes, so feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and our website is gatewaytranslations.net. It's all in one word.
Okay.
So yeah, feel free to check it out. And on LinkedIn, I also posted some video, for example, of the plant in Vietnam where we helped with the localization, and you can learn more about that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Markus. Really appreciate you putting the time in to share with our listeners.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Do you enjoy these shows and these guests and what we're doing here? Do you want to get on the inside of Global from Asia and get some amazing things that are happening? We have gfavip.com, which is our VIP membership. Honestly, it's been a lot happening. We've been doing more and more of these private calls. Sorry, we don't record them. Private forum, private deals. It's just if you want to go above and beyond what's happening here, work with me and others in the community with other experts. It's a membership yearly fee, but it also helps this show and it helps me out, and I would really appreciate it. www.gfavip.com. Thank you, Markus. I know he's like, oh man, I don't know if I can share this on my social media. My clients might see me and see that I'm not as big as they might think that I am. That's what's amazing about today's world. That I just chuckled when I said that. My smile's going ear to ear here. I got a big smile, but that's what I love that actually. We can work anywhere. We can, work with the big boys, that have huge offices and all this expensive stuff. And, that's what I do here. We have an amazing team making this show happen. We're working on LoadPie totally remote. We're working with these online calls for members, and we got amazing things happening, and Amazon sellers everywhere, taking over the world. I think this is the future. If you're not working online and you're not working with remote teams, COVID has probably forced you to at least try as a person in working environments to work online. I hope you all try to do that. We're not sure how long we're going to be in these lockdowns. I'm not trying to get political on this show, but I really hope there's no wars happening and no conflicts. But I've just been so nervous, honestly, reading the headlines of the news I read. And I just am willing to work anywhere. I was also on a little clip for some LinkedIn with Ryan Shukin. I don't know if he's been on a show a few times, and I said, I'm living out of my backpack. I'm running this business, I'm running all this content, I'm doing all these different things with LoadPipe, and I've got some projects building content for other companies and websites, and we can do this anywhere. It's amazing. I can just pack up my bags. Well, the hard part is the family, the kids. The wife, she, this might be hard to pull her out of China now, but, we're all doing things anywhere, and I don't want to buy stuff anymore. I got stuff stuck in Philippines now. I got to figure out how to mail it or someone pick it up or somebody fly it to me. I got stuff still in Thailand. I got stuff in Shenzhen. I don't want to buy any more stuff. So we're totally flexible life in today's day and age, and I hope all of you are adjusting to that. Thanks for listening. I'm going to wrap up today's episode 309. Make things happen. I think what I learned from Markus, and he's really, like I said, the German, no hype, he just does it, right? He just takes action and keeps improving and learning and improving and growing, and he's got an amazing business now. Congratulations, Markus. Thank you so much for sharing with us. That's a wrap.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.